You may remember the hashtag Justice for Winston case, but don't forget about the other dogs shelters safe on a daily basis. I went to the local humane societies to find out more about how these shelters help rehabilitate rescued pets. Winston the dog took social media by storm when the blind and elderly dog was found trapped inside a sealed lunch bag under a large book. The dog was rehabilitated by the Marion County Humane Society. Along with vet care, they were able to raise enough money to give the Yorkie eye surgery, which allowed him to regain some of his eyesight. And while this is an extreme abuse case, it is far from being the only abuse case humane societies face. In fact, kennel technician Alexis Potesta says they receive abused animals more often than you think.
And it's not always evident. We have a dog here named Kira right now. She's healthy, she is in good physical form, but she came here about, I think, 3 to 4 months ago, and she was utterly terrified of us. She wouldn't let us touch her, she wouldn't come near us. We had to corral her many times into her kennel area because she wouldn't trust us to touch her or anything. She wouldn't eat, she would just stand there and shake. And getting her used to us, slowly rehabilitating her, she's just recently started to trust us as a staff, letting us pet her, interact with her, and stuff like that. But not all of them are as obvious as, say, Winston was, who was, abandoned in a bag, couldn't see mats and everything, to Kira, who was healthy physically wise, but mentally she had a lot of issues.
Every situation is completely different. Some of these animals are actually really loved. Maybe the people just are neglectful and just don't have the resources to take care of the animal. But some of them also do come to you abused, scared, and with some major health issues. We just try to fit them with the best person who's going to help them to get to where they need to be and be a dog again.
We've had some people interested in Kira, and then I know one of them changed their mind because they didn't want a shy dog that they'd have to train to be more energetic, which I don't really think is true. Because with us, once she got used to us, once she trusts us, she plays, she jumps on us, she barks at us, she's a big baby. But it takes someone who's patient and willing to work with these dogs and to get to know them and know their quirks and to love them as much as we do in order to be the right person to adopt them.
It's really not that difficult to handle cases like that. It basically requires a lot of love and a lot of patience. As long as you have patience, you can get these animals to flourish however they need. As far as the physical aspect of it, sometimes it does take a while. We, try to explain to people that especially like skin and health issues, it might take 6 months to kind of get them back into where they need to be. Once again, that comes with a patience thing. And it's just about rebuilding a healthy relationship with the animal. Animals are 100% resilient compared to what humans are. Sometimes humans don't have somebody in their corner to help them overcome the things that have hurt them in their lives. And thankfully, people like us here at the Humane Society and other rescues and animal lovers are there to help the animals, the innocent, to overcome whatever happens to them. We pull our animals from Harrison County Animal Control to save them from euthanasia. What that is animals who are strays, who are never reclaimed by their original owners, and also people who surrender their animals for various reasons. And then we also try to take any of the ones that are confiscated from court cases to get them out of there if we don't get them to rescues in other parts of the state. Harrison County actually just had some last week. They came off confiscation hold, so the puppy got adopted out immediately. 3 little dogs went to 2 different rescues, and then we just pulled the other dog, Queenie, yesterday, and as well as a cat. So they were basically abandoned. The animals were very neglected, and we do notice that she overall mentally is happy and healthy. She is a little skittish and shy, but she warms up really quickly. Hers is more of a physical. She was very underweight. She's already started gaining weight back, and her skin issues are just tremendous. It's going to take a lot of time for her hair to come back and her immune system to get back up to where it needs to be.
My neighbor at home, they got a dog, and she was from an abuse situation, and they didn't know the exact circumstances of what happened, but they found out through time they can't wear hats around her, specifically red hats and straw brooms. And especially when those two were combined one day, she just freaked out. And they'd had her for about 8 months at that point. She just utterly freaked out, panicked, wouldn't come near Emily, my neighbor, and it just takes time for them to get over that stuff, and sometimes they never do. A lot of our dogs, generally, they don't like men just because they're bigger, they're louder, they're just more physically intimidating than, say, girls are. When I cut my hair recently, none of the dogs would come near me for the first day because I look more masculine. But a lot of these dogs' abusers are men, so especially Kira. She doesn't go near men. Zara, one of our pit bulls, doesn't like men at all. Like, she's extremely aggressive towards them. They cannot go near her. She's always in a good mood. She always likes to mouth off and play with the other dogs. But when guys come around, she gets really aggressive. And it's hard to get her used to that because we don't want to endanger any males that come into the shelter who want to see her. There's happy and there's sad. Bittersweet when an animal that, especially some of our long-term ones that I've known been here for a while, and they ended up getting adopted. And I'm so happy that they're getting home, but it's kind of sad to see them go. Like, recently we had a St. Bernard come in September. His name was Benji, and he was just in terrible condition. He had almost no fur on his back, a terrible ear infection. He's 10 years old, but he was the sweetest thing. He would just sit there and let you love on him. He loved his treats. And when he got adopted, I was happy, but I was so sad to see him go too. Hard things, yeah, as try as we might, if an animal gets sick, we sometimes lose them. And it's hard on all of us. Sorry.
I don't think people realize what we go through sometimes. We see a lot of death in here. Not from euthanasia on our side because we don't do that here, but we do have animals that we pull from animal control that unfortunately don't overcome their health issues. And it is emotionally draining, and we don't want people to see that because we don't want people to be upset about it, but I do wish people understood more. There's a lot of heartache that goes in here, but we just keep coming back, and we come back because we love it, and we want to see the animals that can flourish and be happy and healthy. We want to see them find their forever homes.
I don't know if I could work here.
A lot of people say that. They really do. They say, I don't know if I could do what you do. And sometimes I don't know if I can do what I do because it's tough, but I enjoy it, and I know that I'm doing the best that I can to take care of these animals, and that's what matters for them. We currently have a 3-page waiting list for cats that continues to grow, and people call all the time wanting us to take that cat that day, even though we don't have the room. There's people in front of them on this waiting list, but because we're a humane society, people automatically assume you're going to take this animal even though we don't have room for them. Mm-hmm. And it's tough because we want to help this animal, but most of the time they're so unagreeable. They're like, well, I can't take this cat home, or I can't take care of it, even though we try and give them resources and other places to try and contact to take this cat. It's just rough. Especially sometimes people will call in and be like, hey, there's these kittens under our porch, what do we do with them? And we try to give we give them numbers to like other shelters and stuff to try and see if they might be able to help out, have room. And they're like, oh no, I'll just leave them there. And sometimes they're a few days old and they don't have moms, or they're sick and they're just like, I'll just, let them die, or I'll go out and kill them myself. People say that.
People really say that to you?
Yes. It was a big wake-up call when I first started working here.
Yeah.
Because I could never imagine anyone wanting to hurt an animal like that. And then I come here and I see it almost daily, how people hurt animals.
We have 2 types of foster programs. We have a foster program where you help us by taking the animal home, and you get to give us feedback and let us know how the animal actually is in a home setting. It is completely different between a shelter environment and a home environment, and we don't always get to see what the animals live like outside of here. So that fostering helps us to be able to adopt them out to the appropriate person. Then we also have the foster trial program, where you take them home for up to 5 days, an animal that you've chosen, and you see if they are the perfect fit for your family. Sometimes animals need a little more exercise, or maybe a little more mental stimulation than what we can actually give. So that is a great way for people to make sure that that is going to be their forever pet. We love volunteers. We are busy here every day. We're here from 8 to 4. The first 2 hours every day is cleaning. Every kennel is clean, every bowl is clean, every piece of fabric in here is washed. So we love for people to come out and help us with that, because the cleaner the facility is, the healthier the animal is. The other thing that we absolutely love is for people to come and socialize with the animals. The more socialization they get, the more we get to see their personalities come out, and the better write-up we can do to let people know what their personality is and help get them adopted. So one of the greatest things about adopting a shelter animal, you're actually saving 2 lives. You're saving the life of the animal that we already have in our care, and it is also coming to you fully vaccinated, dewormed, and spayed or neutered for a fraction of the cost than you would pay for at a pet store. But on top of that, we get to go and pull and save another animal's life, and that's worth more money than you could ever pay. I would say the most important thing to know about animals in general, but especially abused animals, is it just takes time. You have to be patient with them and let them come into themselves again. A lot of these animals don't know how to be dogs, don't know how to be cats, and it's just important to let them, take the time to do that. You can't force them, and once you do, they're going to be the most loyal companions that you could ever have in your life.